So, since you were on the topic, what, if you could list the top 3 threats to America's national security in order, what would they be?
From a military standpoint, a strictly military standpoint, I think China is the #1 military threat as we go forward. But I also acknowledge that Russia is a considerable great power competitor. And those two, in the NDS and in the current strategic environment from a military perspective, there are many, many threats. But from a military perspective, I put those two up there.
I understand. One of the things I want to get at is because I think it was just yesterday, President Biden announced, when he announced America's back in Europe to military men and women, Air Force in the UK, that according to the military leaders, that the #1 threat facing America's national security is climate change. 6 weeks ago today, the European Union Parliament, speaking of NATO and allies, which are a prominent part of your testimony in this budget, EU Parliament passed a resolution 569 to 67, urging the EU institutions and member states to do everything they can to stop the completion of the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. 3 weeks ago today, President Biden lifted the sanctions on completing the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. And I'm just kind of wondering, and that flies in the face both of America's back, it flies in the face of building NATO alliances, rebuilding, as the budget document states. I'm not sure which ones we lost, but I know that there are at least 8 European Union allies, including Ukraine, who strongly oppose Nord Stream 2 for national security reasons. And certainly from climate change standpoint, if climate change is the #1 threat facing America's national security, allowing Nord Stream 2 to be built is not good for the climate. So I have some great concerns, and I think we ought to get them straightened out. And I don't know for the life of me how completing Nord Stream 2 helps our alliance with the European Union, other than maybe with the current chancellor of Germany. And,
Senator, if I could just make
please,
a comment on your piece about threats. Climate change is a threat. Climate change has significant impact on military operations, and we have to take it into consideration. Climate change is going to impact natural resources, for example. It's going to impact increased instability in various parts of the world. It's going to impact migrations and so on. And in addition to that, we have infrastructure challenges here at home, witness some of our hurricanes and stuff. So climate change does impact. But the president is looking at it at a much broader angle than I am. I'm looking at it from a strictly military standpoint. And from a strictly military standpoint, I'm putting China and Russia up there. That is not, however, in conflict with the acknowledgement that climate change or infrastructure or education systems, national security has a broad angle to it. I'm looking at it from a strictly military standpoint.
I just think it's peculiar that the president would go to another continent and tell our service members there that the #1 threat is climate change, albeit a threat. With that, my time's expired. Thank you.